saving system settings and game progress on the memory card.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Saving Progress, where we hope to learn a little bit more about our personal history with video games. I'm your host, Addy, and with me today I have a guest that I've known ever since I was a kid. He works as a commercial carpenter for a living and is a member of the Carpenters Union Local 432. But in his free time, he's an avid musician and plays guitar to relax after a long day. He's also previously dabbled in stand-up comedy, which, I mean, to me makes sense because he's a pretty stand-up guy, if I do say so myself. So, without further ado, Steve, welcome to the show, my man. How are you?
Dude, thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Anything worth mentioning that you did today? Anything exciting?
Nothing exciting, but I mean, I'm doing nothing particularly exciting, but I'm doing residential tiling right now.
Okay.
We're just working, working all day.
Yeah, no, I got you. I just recently made dinner and I, cooked it myself, ate it myself. Couldn't really get any better than that, if you ask me. So, first things first, I want to state the obvious and welcome in the new year. So, Happy New Year, everybody! Woo!
Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
2021 is dead and gone in the water, and 2022 is here to rear its ugly head. Well, I mean, maybe that comes across as a bit too cynical, but, this year definitely flew by for some, but I'm actually feeling pretty confident this time around, and I couldn't really tell you why. How do you feel about that, Steve?
Dude, third time's a charm, okay? 2020, disaster.
Yeah.
2021, wasn't fantastic. 2022, dude, we got it. We're gonna crush it. We got it.
It was like still kind of a disaster, but at least
not as bad. Not
it was
as bad.
a little bit more of a methodical disaster. If you
sure. Like a slow train wreck instead of
like last year 2020 we didn't really expect it. So, but I mean. Do you at least feel like the future of your projects is a little more promising now that things are opening back up again?
Yes, that is what I'm looking forward to the most because, why
don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about those while we're on the topic then?
Alrighty, well, as you mentioned, like I said, I'm a very passionate musician, and last June, I got my grubby little hands on a little electronic drum kit to play in my apartment here.
That you did,
and like maybe the 60 hours that I've actually played it, I've actually gotten pretty good. So one of my little projects I'm working on is it's just some music that I'm composing and recording entirely by myself. And
okay,
yeah. So right now it's in its infant stages of just like some rough demos and things like that. Yeah, again, I'm just coming up with this my music.
Sure, I mean, someone's got to do it. We got to have musicians out here, man.
Dude, I have so much noise in my head. I need to get it out,
put it down on paper.
Yeah, so other people can hear the chaos that exists in my brain. But what I was gonna say was by January I wanted to have a presentable group of demo tapes, and then by my little self-imposed guideline is by the end of March. I want to get into a professional studio and actually professionally record what I just again my
by
little,
the end of March.
Yeah.
That's pretty ambitious. I mean, I hope that works out for you, dude. Because things that you've been sending me so far, it's coming together. It's coming.
Yeah.
Working.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean. Most of our viewers didn't already know this, but I've considered having you on the show for a little while now. We've been part of the same neighborhood growing up and friends ever since then. You're also pretty big into podcasts outside of the several other interests that we've mentioned already. So, I figured that'd make you a good candidate for the sort of formula I got here on my show. Are you excited?
Dude, I'm when did we talk about this? Like a month or two ago?
Yeah.
Where I was like, what if I was a guest? Dude, I've been excited ever since then.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it would have been shortly after I recorded with Nomo, and if you guys haven't checked that episode out, you definitely should. It's the episode right before this.
I second that statement. It was very, very, very informative and entertaining.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you. That's what we're aiming for here on the show. So, I guess let's just dive right into it. I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell us who, and this is something that I plan to ask everyone on the show. every guest at least. But who is Steve? What do you do? I know we already talked about your hobbies, but anything else you'd like to share with us? Basically, just help paint a picture of yourself for our audience, so they know who to visualize in a sense.
Dude, so I was actually pondering this the other day, and Steve is Steve. Okay.
All right.
I figured out that who I am is I am a blue collar hippie. I'm a starving artist with a day job. I'm a box of contradictions in pretty much every sense of the word, and I feel that I'm a very multifaceted individual, because I go to work. I work in construction, right? Blue collar construction people, right, are of a certain breed. But this is a point I will bring up later. I do that, and then I come home and I unironically listen to and enjoy, like lounge music, swing music, big band music, stuff like that. I actually know how to swing dance. It's so if that doesn't help, paint a picture, then I don't really know any other way to explain it. But yeah,
honestly, man, I probably couldn't have said it better myself. So I'm glad you were the one to do it.
Steve is Steve.
Be Steve.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you've taken the time to think about a few games that have really come to inspire you over your lifetime. Games that have left a lasting impression, ones that you could hopefully talk about for a few minutes on the podcast. To keep things simple, we've narrowed it down to 3 franchises, but there's no sense in not going the extra mile if the conversation deems it necessary. So I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but you ready to get started?
I am absolutely ready to get started.
Fantastic. That's what I like to hear. So, I guess let's go ahead and start with the Red Dead Redemption series. Now, for starters, my history with Red Dead and Rockstar games in general is unfortunately pretty limited. I don't have a whole lot of experience outside of, like the earlier GTA games. I played a little bit of San Andreas, but nothing exactly really like roped me in a sense. Like Rockstar games, I don't know. Like maybe Red Dead is one of those things that could change my mind on it, but what can you tell us about it? Like, can you introduce it to us?
Well, this is how I convinced my mother to buy it for me when I was, because it's an M-rated game.
Right.
And so to be clear, was
this the first one or the second one?
Yeah, so I was going to say, so there's actually, you can call 3 games part of the Red Dead series. There's Red Dead Revolver, which was the first in the quote-unquote Red Dead series. I've actually never played it because I think it's like early 2000s, probably like original Xbox PS2, so
okay.
So that was like way before me. But so I'll be talking about Red Dead Redemption and then Red Dead Redemption 2. But so how I sold my mother on it to buy it when I was, I don't know, maybe like 12 or 13 is, Rockstar is famous for GTA. And what is GTA famous for is,
a number of things.
Yeah, a number of things that a mother who cares about her child's development says, you probably shouldn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, but what if it was on horses and I was wearing a cowboy hat? And she was like, yeah, you're right. Let's go to GameStop. So
she's like, I'd watch that movie.
Yeah, right. So the unofficial tagline of the Red Dead series is GTA on horses. And
I did know that much about the series.
Yeah, and I'll dive right into this. What I like about it so much is that the GTA series, and again I'm referencing that because it's the other major Rockstar title.
Yeah, of course.
Your title or franchise, whatever you want to call it. They there's like, the story is cool, but it's like a loose story that kind of, paves the way for you to, do the things that, you do on GTA.
Right.
But not Rockstar, Red Dead Redemption, both, 1 and 2, is incredibly story driven. And it's, and it's a story of redemption if the title didn't give it away. But, that's the one thing that, even as like a young kid, again, I probably started playing it when I was 12, 13, maybe 14. I don't exactly remember. But, it starts out as like, oh, I can, be a cowboy in the Old West, which is, everyone wants to be a cowboy, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
But then like
cowboy or ninja or
right, or a knight
or whatever the hell,
Yeah, exactly. And there's when you dress up for as Halloween when you're a little kid.
Sure.
But and then it's like, oh, I get to go do that, like, as close to real life as I can. Oh, that's awesome. But then like you get into it and there's a number of legitimately tear-jerking moments in both of the Red Dead titles. I'm surprised I have not heard a whisper of a film being made of the two games, because Red Dead is like set in whatever time, and then Red Dead 2 is actually the prequel for it. So it sets up the events for the previous title, kind of backwards like that. But you could easily make a three movie trilogy out of them, just because, again, it's not, oh, I'm a cowboy, I'm gonna go steal cattle and rob the bank. It's like, well, no, you see, the only reason I'm doing this is because I used to be an outlaw, and I said, you know what, this is bad, I got to get out of this life because I have a wife and a young son. So I'm just going away, I'm going to build a ranch, and I'm just going to be a rancher. I'm hanging up my guns, and I'm done with this. And then the government pulls up, and they're like, hey, you're that criminal, right? And you're like, who's asking? And they're like, we are. We'll let you go, but we need your help to go track down the members of the previous gang. It's a deal where it's like, you'll get, what would you call it, amnesty.
Sure.
You'll get amnesty if you help us, capture the previous criminals that you used to run around with.
Well, you know what? That seems like that aspect of Red Dead is what kind of appeals to me, because I never really considered myself a fan of like open world games until I quite literally had like a revolution of my own when I started playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because that game is exactly what you described, like GTA. Like, it has like a very loose plot. I mean, like, it helps carry the game forward, but it's not exactly like a requirement in order to enjoy the game. So whenever I was playing something like that, I had a freaking blast. But any other time, whenever I'm like playing any other game, it's quite literally about the story. So for Rockstar to come out and have this series that can kind of, in a sense, like blend those two things, like, it has a really good narrative, but it also pushes this like free roaming style of gameplay, I guess you could say. Like that part absolutely appeals to me, and it's one of the big reasons why I do want to get into the franchise, hopefully as soon as possible, because I mean, if you're a gamer, you know that your backlog can extend for miles and miles. So maybe someday,
so you mentioned a good point that, and as a point I thought of to make was, obviously the three franchises that I picked, they're all, I think anyone who's like, might not know anything about them, all they know is that, oh, this is an open world game. It's like you can do whatever you want. And I think, so this is a little precursor for the other two. With Skyrim and Fallout, you do not have to do anything to play the game. Okay. Up the street. When he played Skyrim, I remember him telling me that, okay, like, you leave a town and you have to make a right to move on the main quest. He made a left, and he got to like level like 70 without starting the first quest for the main story.
Wow.
And so to me, that is like a true open world game where, again, there is a story, and the plot for Skyrim it's a legitimate plot. Again, it's a fleshed out plot, but to play that game, there is no limitation on what you want to do. And I think Red Dead does a very good job of giving you that freedom to again, just, you can run around, you can, explore, the old mines, you can explore all the towns in the area, but it does kind of fence you in a little bit before, and then like you have to hit, certain points in the plot. And I like how it does it because GTA actually did it the same way, or GTA 4 specifically, where, okay, you're walking around, and you want to go, to this next town, but the bridge is under construction and you can't cross the bridge. And so that's why, that's the barrier that the game sets up. But I like that, it's not just like, you're walking and you hit an invisible wall and like a message comes up, turn back, you must progress further to come here. It's like, well, no, there's a real world reason why you can't go. It's like, oh, well, there's a storm and the bridge flooded out. And
that's a nice attention to detail that a lot of games seem to neglect, because that like you look at some review and it'll tout like how immersive an experience is, or like how deep you can get invested into this game's story or world, you like make you feel like the character you're playing. but then they throw something in there that just completely rips you out of that immersion, like what you're describing, like invisible walls or like whatever it could be, that just like it's basically like a fourth wall slap in the face, you know?
Yeah,
like,
and then and again, like I said, you're kind of as you move through the story, you're penned into these areas, you know, in which you can explore, but you know, it's not like the equivalent of like, oh, you can only be in you know, quote unquote the town until you know, talk to the sheriff, he gives you your mission, you go and do that, and that opens up the world. Like you have, you know, I wish I had this statistic, but you know, like the real world dimensions of the games, I believe it's over 100,000 square miles. Like it's like 100 by 100 miles of a box to play in.
Wow.
And then again, you know, like when your character's walking, you know, yeah, you know, the time moves quickly and all that, but you know, it's like, you know, it takes, you know, half an hour to walk from like one county to the other one, right? And then you know, but then like that county's on, say, the eastern border of the game, then like there's 4 counties to the western border. So like again, it takes, you know, 2 hours real game or real time to walk, you know, again to the other side of your game world.
Man, I feel like these games just get bigger and bigger, honestly. And I mean, our next 2 examples definitely solidify that point. Mm-hmm. But I do actually want to ask you what like you're explaining to me why this game is so important to you. You know, do you feel like this game has made you think differently about any ways? Because I know there's a lot of plot that is addressed, and you said there's a lot of tear-jerking moments. You know, like, is that something that would have caused your perspective to change about things? You know, like, I wouldn't say reevaluate life or anything, but like if something like that were to happen, you know, by all means, I want to hear what you have to say about that.
You know what? That's actually a very interesting question, and you're making me think now.
Good.
Okay, so
that's what we're all about. We're all about using them folds.
So, there's a little bit of backstory. You're okay with spoiler alerts, right? I think it's been out for like 4 years. I think spoiler alerts are whatever at this point.
Which game is this for?
This is for both of the Red Dead titles because it crosses between them. So
if you can do your best to avoid spoilers, then try to do it. But I'll leave a timestamp on screen right now for you to skip forward to. You, as in the listener, feel free to skip to this timestamp in case you don't want to hear any spoilers for this game. You want to experience it for yourself. Without further ado, go ahead and say what you were saying, Steve.
So I'll try to dance around giving away the key things. So the original game, and this isn't even the spoiler, your end goal is you're chasing Dutch van der Linde. He is the leader of the van der Linde gang. He was your former gang leader. But again, you want to talk, you talk about the emotional involvement that you have with this game. He wasn't just like your character's boss. I believe, if I remember correctly, Dutch is older than you, and he kind of like picked you up as when you were a child.
Okay,
you the character, and he served as like a big brother or father figure to you. Because you're just some lost kid, out on the range, and some guy comes, he's like, oh, like, do you need help? Yeah, you can run with me, and then but it's like that kind of manipulation where your perspective of right and wrong, as a kid developing, changes because the guy teaching you right or wrong is a criminal. Okay, he's a criminal. He's not a good person.
Right.
But he's over there like, well, I mean, if you want money, you just rob people, and then you're like, oh, well, that's how you earn money, and so that's the guy. You're basically going after, again, both your dad and your older brother, who I don't know if you would say, you loved him, maybe loved him as a father, or that you at least very strongly.
You definitely respected them because they that pulled you up.
Yeah, and so that is the plot of the first one. So then when you go to the Red Dead 2, which is the prequel, you actually that is, let me think. I think it's about 10 years previously. I'm not entirely sure, but so that's when the quote unquote Dutch van der Linde gang. That's when they're out, doing, all their gang related activities, and you're a full participant. Now you play as a different character because the main character of the character you play as in Red Dead 1 is John Marston,
right,
and then you play as Arthur Morgan in Red Dead 2, who's a member of the gang, and then but you see John Marston as he's an NPC, he's a fellow character in the game. You can interact with him, et cetera, et cetera. It's almost it actually became like a running joke, like a meme, when the game was coming out in the months following, when people started completing it. Was the whole plot line is for Red Dead 2 is it's the death of the American West. So it's, because the American West used to be the Wild West, and now it's like civilization is pushing out that way. So again, back in the day, like I said, you want money, you just rob people. Now the police are starting to be there, and you can't just rob people. You can't just shoot somebody because he, called you a name at a bar, because you'll have to face the repercussions.
You'll suffer the consequences. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the gang is they're kind of trying to decide, like, okay, like, how do we hang this up? And so the running joke is Dutch is like, he's like, all right, we're just gonna do one last job. We're gonna get all this money, one last big robbery, and then we'll split it up. We'll split up the loot. We'll split up individually. We'll shake hands. I had a great time. Maybe I'll catch you around, sort of deal. So that's like,
sure.
But it's what, disaster after disaster, trying to do the quote unquote last job. So you want to talk about how does your perspective change, and how that would actually influence my perspective, which maybe it wasn't because of the game, but I've started to realize that people who allegedly have a plan, have it all figured out, sometimes they're completely full of crap, and sometimes they're stringing you along to try to exploit you. All right, and that might be a little bit of a pessimistic outlook on life, but I mean, tell me I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
I won't.
Yeah.
Not everyone is a freaking angel sent down to help us out. Like some people, they're looking out for only their best interests.
Exactly, and that's what Dutch is doing.
Yeah, you got to know the difference between right and wrong, and sometimes you got to go with your gut. Sometimes, you got to do what's right, and usually it doesn't involve those kind of people.
Yeah, and then sometimes in the game, you have to be the one to look that person in the face and say, I don't believe you. You're leading us the wrong way. Because that's one of the big plot points, is where, again, it's like, oh, and you're the only one who's like, I think Dutch is leading us to disaster. And everyone else is like, well, but, trying to defend him. And you're like, I don't know about all this. And then,
right.
Again, I won't go too far into detail, but
sure.
Nobody benefits from being around Dutch Vanderland. That's pretty much the only way I can explain it. Except him, because, again, he's looking out after his own best interests.
Understandable. Well, I would say, we definitely said plenty about Red Dead. Let's stop there for now. And,
okay.
I think we should, let's move on and talk about the Elder Scrolls series, specifically Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online. So, again, I never really considered myself like a huge fan of open world games, but Skyrim is definitely on that list of games that I want to dive into at some point. Hopefully in the near future, But you being the resident Skyrim expert right now, I want you to tell us, what can you tell us about it?
Well, I was actually thinking about this the other day when we were like really starting to schedule this, and I was like, when did I get into Skyrim? And it was probably around like maybe between 8th grade and freshman year of high school. And the reason it took me so long is because for the longest time, like I remembered this and I had completely forgot about it. For the longest time, I completely wrote it off because I was like, wizards and dragons and, trolls and dwarves, like that's for dorks. I'm not a dork. I don't want to play that game.
If I knew you like if I truly understood your personality, I wouldn't have assumed that you would be into that sort of thing right away.
I'm a box of contradictions.
Right. Good.
But
well said.
Yeah. So and then let me think. I think lent me his copy because he's like, bro, you gotta play it. And I'm like, dude, that's for dorks. I'm cool. I play Call of Duty, okay? I don't want to play that game. And then he's like, you gotta, here, I'll give it to you. Just play it, I'll ask back for it in like a month or something. I was like, all right, whatever. And I just like, all right, I'll throw this stupid dork game in my console. And then I think 4 months later, just like, hey man, can I have my copy back? And I was like, you gotta buy your own, dude. This is my game now. Because I immediately fell in love with it. And I was like, again, he was making fun of me. He's like, I thought that game was for dorks. And I was like, well, it looks like I'm a dork because this is an absolute gem, a masterpiece of a game.
That's perfect.
Yeah, but Yes. What was your original question? Because again, that's how I got into it.
What can you say Skyrim is? What can you say Skyrim is all about? Like, if there's like maybe like one or two people on the entire planet who have never heard of Skyrim, how would you describe it to them?
Well, like I said earlier, it's in my opinion, probably one of the top 3 open world games in the sense of, again, there's everything to do, but at the same time, you don't have to do any of it. You have
right
in terms of like player customization and creation. There's 10 different races of people. I'd call them people, creatures, maybe, whatever you want to refer to them as.
I guess 10 races, maybe, like species. I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's 8 like humanoid races, and there's 2 beast races.
Okay.
But so you choose those, and each one has their own attributes. And then some of them are might have more physical strength when it comes to combat. My race of choice, the Argonian, are lizard people. And they can breathe underwater, and they don't get sick from diseases that exist in the game. So those are 2 things that I never have to worry about drowning or getting sick.
I did know about the Argonians. I always thought that they were kind of cool. So
and they and then like there's the elven races, and they tend to have different specialties when it comes to magic, but they're the more magically inclined races. And then within that, there's endless, physical customizations of them that you can, I always made my Argonians black with white like zebra stripes on them. I don't know why, I just thought they were cool.
Huh.
But
okay.
Yeah, and then again,
it seems like there's a really big factor of personalization within the game then. So it's like you really make it your own in a sense.
And then from there you can specialize how you play the game, because for certain, like maybe shooter games, you're a character with a gun running around. But with Skyrim, and again, if you're say like the orcs or the Red Guard, they were, or the Nords, they were the I think those were probably the 3 best suited for physical combat. They have high health, they have high strength, so they can inflict more damage. Or you can play as an elf, and you can like I actually did a playthrough where I did not touch a single physical weapon the entire game. I did not kill one enemy using a sword or a mace or whatever. It was all magic spells.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
And then,
so yeah, you can pretty much like, you can either brute force your way through the whole game, or just play it really like however you want to. You can
play
the 2.
You can play it however you want. And again, if there's a selling point for Skyrim, it's if you're into fantasy, if you're into the what do they call it? So it's like something in sword. I can't remember the phrase.
Is it Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, if you're into that kind of universe, that kind of game, then you can you can do literally anything you want. Maybe that's a good way to sell it. It's like you can actually play a video game version of like Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, funny that you mentioned selling a game. But well, what I wanted to do here is I wanted to take a brief moment, and I want to hear you effectively sell this game. I know you already have been, but the catch is that I want to hear you do it in 10 words or less. So, give a good reason, like why should our listeners play this game? Why should I play this game? You can let grammar suffer to the benefit of your explanation. You can make Shakespeare roll in his grave for all I care. But if you can get me to play it, if you can get your audience to play it, that's all I really want to hear. So, count them out on your fingers. If you gotta just whatever you got to do, make it count, but make sure that it's 10 words or less.
Okay.
So I would say, starting now.
All right. Let me think. 10 words or less.
And you can take as much time as you want to think about it.
I think I got it.
Or you can just, You
said 10 words or less?
Yes, 10 words or less.
Create your own magical fantasy adventure.
That's 6. You want to stop there? You got 4
I'm
more
cool
words
with that.
for us?
6 words.
You're cool with that?
6 words.
I like that.
Create your own magical fantasy adventure.
I like that. I think that sums it up pretty well, to be honest, because it leaves the explanation pretty open-ended, and I feel like Skyrim as a game is pretty open-ended. So, well done with that. I think you summed it up pretty well there. So, My next question for you is, why is this game so important to you? You know, I know you got it from, and that you had a hard time putting it down. You know, but like, why is this a game that you decided you wanted to talk about on this show today? Like, has this game made you think differently about anything? Like, has it made you, you know, maybe like learn something new about games, or just, like how life can kind of like throw curveballs your way. Like is there anything like that Skyrim has done for you?
I think what it means to me. There's two things. One, I think because it is such in my opinion. Now, granted, if you were to play it today, it looks kind of dated, even with the user created content, you know, texture packs you can add. It still looks and plays kind of dated.
I mean, it came out in like 2011, right?
11 is when it came out. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'll do it.
So it looks kind of dated, but you know, at the time, it was such a well-designed game that it's probably more than anything else. It was such an easy game to just get lost in. Where you know, it's probably, you know, the closest, because I grew up being a fan of Harry Potter too, so you know, like the whole magical, you know, that stuff. Even though I'm cool, like I mentioned earlier, I love that. I love all of, you know, that whole realm. And so for a game, that's probably the closest that I've ever felt to, you know, having been brought into a fantasy world where I can walk around with a little ball of fire in my hand. And if there's something in front of me, I'll just throw that fire at it, and you know, it'll not be in my way anymore.
Sure.
So again, just it's such a well-designed game that again, the immersion of it is phenomenal. And then also, on a more personal note, you just made me think of this now. This is probably the only single player game that I've spent, you know, a huge number of hours playing with friends. Because back in the day, me, and then we would all get on and have Skyrim parties. And again, we're all playing our separate games, but we had so much fun playing our separate games together. Does that make sense?
Oh, of course, yeah.
It'd be like sitting in a circle everyone reading a different book, but like, you know, everyone's enjoying it in the same way. Do you know what I mean?
Now, would you guys be like on a call like in the meantime, or
we
just kind of
be
like experiencing it?
Xbox Live Party.
Oh, right.
And kind of
early Discord kind of.
Sure.
For people that haven't been around for that.
Yeah, but and so like we kind of been doing like, you know, play-by-play color commentary of like each of our games, you know, making each other laugh and stuff. And I just remember, you know, there were so many evenings where I watched the sun go down on my couch and then watched it come right back up a couple hours later, where we'd all be on Xbox, you know, again, playing and just having a great time, you know, playing video games with each other.
And that's like simultaneously like the most like satisfying feeling, but also like the most like mentally taxing, because, you know, it's great. Like you are so invested in a game that you're staying up all night, you're experiencing it, and then you watch the sun come up. But then you also realize, oh shit, I literally have been up all night and I feel like crap, you know? So it's like Addy, a double-edged sword.
This is back when we were young and spry, so it was like, oh man, I can go to bed and then get back up and do it all over again.
Wake up in like 6 hours, be like, all right, I'm good to go.
Round two. But
eat my Kraft mac and cheese, I'm good.
No, my Hot Pockets is what it was.
Oh yeah,
shout out Hot Pockets.
So I mean, like that's definitely a lot to be said about Skyrim. But I know you mentioned you had a little bit of experience with ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, for those uninitiated. But you know, what can you tell us about that? Because this, like Elder Scrolls like Online, I genuinely have no experience with. So like you're basically like introducing me to this game at this point.
Alrighty, so. This is a point that will come up later in a furious tirade that I'm currently keeping the lid on, but it'll come out.
Okay.
Bethesda. I am in an abusive relationship with Bethesda software, or Softworks, whatever their full name is because their games are again, as you just heard me, you know, monologue, they're incredibly addicting and incredibly well made, but at the same time are also hot, functionally they're hot pieces of garbage. And from what I did not play, like you said, I have a little bit of experience with Elder Scrolls Online, but enough to have an opinion on it. When it came out, I believe I got it when it came out, and it was rough because it was Bethesda's first jump into the world of what is the massive multiplayer online role-playing games, the MMORPGs.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, so that was their first foray into having a console game, or it was available for PC, but console and PC game that was an MMORPG, and it came out pretty rough. It came out probably not even half baked. It came out probably like a quarter baked, and again, it was so bad that I cannot even remember the specific issues because I played it for like maybe 8 hours and was like this. It's like unplayable. Okay.
Wow.
And
I mean,
then,
talk about half baked. I mean, that yolk is still raw.
Yeah. It's the ingredients aren't even mixed. But
damn,
to their credit, they turned the ship around 180 degrees because I think I was like bored and I was like kind of out of games to play, and I was like, I still have Elder Scrolls Online downloaded on the console. Yeah, or maybe I'll fire it up and see what's going on. And it was an entirely different game. And so again, I don't remember what it was like when it first came out because it was a while ago. And again, I was so disinterested. Those files have been deleted in my brain. But the new game is fantastic. I find it very enjoyable to play. And I think it's a very well executed. Which I have limited experience with MMORPGs, but as far as I'm concerned, Elder Scrolls Online is a very well done version.
And I feel like MMORPGs they've honestly come a long way since like they were first like introduced, because I mean you got your standards like World of Warcraft and whatnot, but it's like they almost died out in a sense. And I shouldn't say died out because they definitely have a solid player base, but it's like they somewhat died out, and then they like came back with a vengeance. Like there's so many games that are out there that you wouldn't have imagined that they would have like an MMO experience, but like games like Final Fantasy 14, I know people are super into.
That's an MMORPG?
Yeah, actually.
I was entirely unaware of that.
Yeah, and I'm sure ESO is still kicking around. There's plenty of examples, but it's just fascinating to see how like you can nowadays release a game that is, like you said, pretty much like 30% cooked, and you can come back and build it effectively like from the ground up again and make it a whole new experience in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
Like back then, if your game sucked, that's it. Like you're done.
Yeah,
like there's no online updates. There's no if you want to get a new game, you got to wait until the sequel comes out, bro.
Yeah, and back then it was like you got to wait 2-3 years until the next the next sequel drops. But
exactly.
Again, to Bethesda's credit, they sort of do like it's kind of how like GTA 5, which came out in 2013, there's still updates occurring for GTA 5.
It's really been that long.
Yeah, right. And then like not just updates like just like functional things, but it's like no, there's like this new casino that you can go to. There's this new heist mission that's like a 15-hour little quest run of quests that you get some crazy car for. And
okay.
Even now Elder Scrolls Online it's being constantly worked on. And so like again, I dive into it every couple months and play it for a couple months and then kind of get back out when something else comes out or whatever. But every time I fire it back up, there's like three new quest lines, and again each quest line might be 10-12 hours. There's like all these new crazy dungeons you go through and bosses that you fight, and new armors and weapons and stuff like that. So again, it's not just functional things to keep the game running. It's like legitimate content packs that are being released.
That's crazy. Yeah, not just like quality of life kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You're literally you're like breathing life into this game effectively. Like you're giving it like second, third, fourth wind effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like that's been enough about the Elder Scrolls series.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can move on to the third and final topic. Yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about Fallout. So,
oh Jesus,
I know that this is the one that you're the most excited about, the most knowledgeable about specifically. So I'm not even going to share my thoughts. I just want to hear what you have to say. So can you tell us what Fallout is for those that are uninitiated?
Well, Fallout is a retro-futuristic, post-apocalyptic, open-world role-playing game. Any further questions, Your Honor?
Now close the Wikipedia article and say something
memorized
else.
in my brain, dude. But actually, that is exactly what it says on the Wikipedia article.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says. But one of the biggest things with Fallout, and we can touch on this however much you want, but I'm going to start this off, is the amount of lore that exists within the game.
I did know about that, yeah.
So, the like I said, it's a I'm sure if anyone's even vaguely aware, it's a post-apocalyptic role-playing game. So you play as various characters in a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland, formerly known as the United States of America. But
after like a big old nuclear warfare kind of
So again, I'll dive right into this. The one of the things that is intriguing to me about Fallout is again the backstory of it, and the backstory is this would be a brief Cliff Notes versions, but roughly maybe 5-10 years after the Second World War concluded, that's when our timeline and the Fallout timeline diverge, because in the in-game universe, the microchip was either not invented or not implemented as much as it is today. So the microchip is what gives you the iPhone, all the technology that we're recording on, right?
Yeah,
and very, very valuable, invaluable small piece of technology that revolutionized the world. In the Fallout universe, it was not microchips; it was miniature nuclear reactors. And so there's this whole aesthetic to the game, which again, it's just one of the things that is so intriguing to me about it is basically like society and culture stopped in the 1950s, but technology, shot, at least, maybe call it nuclear technology, surpassed, anything that we're remotely capable of nowadays. Like, your microwave oven, your television, and your car are all powered by nuclear reactors. That's just how the world works. It's on nuclear reactors. But again, the cars are styled like they're cars from the 50s. The TV is like, the big rounded, bubble looking TV, right?
Sure. Okay.
And so, life's going as it is, but you instead of right now there's it's an ongoing issue, the renewable resources issue that where people we are now aware as, I'd say aware as a globe, honestly, that
like we as in like IRL, like our reality kind of thing.
Yeah, in reality, and as the planet Earth is starting to realize that we're pretty reliant on petroleum. We're kind of not scraping the bottom yet, but it's we're getting there. And so this happened in the Fallout universe, and that led to starting to have issues where you get your resources from the Middle East or China or whatever countries, and then all of a sudden people stop being friendly, and then I believe the date is October 23rd, 2077. It broke out into nuclear warfare, where there was a 2-hour nuclear exchange, global nuclear exchange. Nobody knows who shot first, but the result was, a completely devastated planet.
Gotcha.
And then, so we're going to jump forward to the games. There's actually a number of Fallout games. There's Fallout 1 and 2. Those were originally for PC only, and they're kind of unrecognizable. I actually have played both of them.
That's what I was going to ask you, because from my understanding, the first 2 Fallout games, like they were like drastically different from how the series is known for. Like nowadays, like this like huge gameplay overhaul from my understanding.
Yes, because they were isometric view and turn-based combat. So it's like you're watching your character and you like, all right, you have so much stamina, you can walk up to like 10 blocks, 10 little spaces, and then
so like more like a strategic kind of game in a sense.
Yeah. And then that was 1 and 2, and they take place in, I don't know the exact dates, but I think it's something around like 2150, then like 2180. So about 150 or so years after the events that caused the nuclear devastation.
Right, of course.
And again, I'm not going to talk too much about them because again, I played through them. Honestly, wasn't that hooked because I I had played them after I played the console version, so I was like, this is cool, but like, yeah. I'm just gonna.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure a majority of people will agree and say that they were introduced into the series with probably Fallout 3 or New Vegas.
Yes.
Just because of how like the sheer popularity that oozed from this series. It definitely blew up. Like I remember being over your house a couple times, and all you were doing that day was like sitting there playing New Vegas, or like
yeah, I know, and you're like,
it's just one of those things.
And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna take off, and I like without turning away from the screen, like, all right, man, see ya.
Yeah, very few instances where it was that bad, but you definitely played the crap out of the series.
Yeah. I played the crap out of 2 Fallout 3 discs.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually burned through 2 discs, but yeah, so.
Well, what got you interested in the Fallout then? Like, do you remember how you discovered it? Like, did you buy it yourself, or like maybe like an older sibling gave it to you or something like that?
Yes, Mike, my older brother. If I remember correctly, Fallout 3 was in fact the first console video game I ever played.
Huh. All right.
Because
that was Xbox 360?
Xbox 360, right? Yes.
Okay.
Because I believe Mike had like Modern Warfare, the Call of Duty 4, and he was like, I don't want you playing my game. You play this other game. And I was like, all right.
A story of my life, dude.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
just how older brother experience is.
But yeah, and so again, I started playing that. Let me think. I was probably in about 5th grade, maybe 5th or 6th grade is when I really started to getting into it, and I think that was perfect because I was like just old enough to like kind of start understanding like, oh, I'm not running around shooting bad guys or whatever. It's there's like a little more thought into how to play a proper big kid video game sort of deal.
Yeah, of course.
But so it probably really is an instance of why is it so special to me? Well, it's the first one, right? Everyone remembers their first kiss. You remember your first pet. Like this was my introduction to video games, and I
awesome. Okay.
That's not the only reason why I like it so much. Which again I could go on and on forever, but yeah, that's and then let me think. So Fallout 3 takes place in 2277. Okay, so it's 200 years.
Significant jump, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 200 years after the nuclear war, blah blah blah, and
right.
Then the basic plot is, and again, this is what hooked me is you're in this underground nuclear bunker, Vault 101. Shout out Vault 101, and tunnel snakes rule. No, so and then all of a sudden, so you're living in this vault, and it's again in the vault doing your vault thing. Then all of a sudden, your dad leaves, and it's a big deal because nobody's opened the vault in 200 years. So all of a sudden, the vault's open. It's like, oh my god, like what's going on? And so then you get kicked out of the vault because it's your dad, and there's power struggles within who's running the vault, all that sort of thing. So you basically get forced to leave, and you venture off into the nuclear wasteland. And
sure,
I find it's very iconic, and you want to talk about small things that are also very, I think, impactful in a game. Is you leave the vault, you go through a cut screen, and then when the cut screen's over, your screen's washed out, totally white, and then because you're experiencing real sunlight for the first time, and then as your eyes adjust,
okay,
the world opens up in front of you, and it looks like shit. Everything is brown. Everything is destroyed. It is brown, gray, and like an olive drab color. And you're like, this is the world, huh? I wish they would have just let me back in the vault.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
One of a kind.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, then the main story quest for the game is you have to track down your dad. And then, you find out the background of your dad's background is a lot more interesting than you originally realized. And then, so I don't want to spoil anything, but
sure.
He's got a plan to save the wasteland, and you need to help him complete the plan. And that's the basic plot premises of Fallout 3.
Okay.
But then again, you leave, you can go after your dad, or you can turn around and run south and find out whatever's going on down there, and go about your day, do what you want. Maybe you'll help your dad, maybe not. But again, Fallout and Skyrim, and probably because they're both Bethesda titles, they allow you to do whatever you want to do. There is not many restraints aside from like skill levels, to get into things and do things, which you can get from leveling up. There's not many restraints on what you can't do, what you can do in the game.
Well, Steve, I mean, you pretty much said everything that I could have said about the game. At Fallout 3, at least, we can touch on Vegas in a little bit. But, because you remember so much about Fallout, what I'd like to do right now is take a quick break to ask you some trivia on the series. So
all right.
Now, it's going to be multiple choice, so don't panic. I made the process fairly easy, but hopefully the question proves to be a bit of a challenge. I dug in a little bit. Hopefully not too deep, so I want you to have a fighting chance, but you might know this right off the bat, so because as far as I'm concerned, you're the Fallout guy. So
I am the Fallout
guy.
Listen,
let's go ahead and
if this resource issue falls apart, come to me. I'll help everybody out.
Right. Perfect.
800 hours of practice, so not even it's on one game.
You could put that on your resume as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic survival.
Yeah.
What are you, a Green Beret? No, I played Fallout.
I'll let you know if I need a referral. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. The Fallout series is known for its wide variety. I'm not going to read it like that. I could. The Fallout series is known for its wide variety of characters you meet throughout the vast wasteland. Some friendly, and others not so much. But it doesn't get much friendlier than knowing that one of the characters in New Vegas was literally voiced by a member of the TV show Friends. My question to you, Steve,
Benny,
is what actor/actress of Friends popularity offered their voice to one of the game's many characters? And what did you say?
I thought you were going to say which character was voiced, but it was incorrect anyway.
Well,
jump the gun.
Yeah, so the question is, what actor/actress of Friends popularity offered their voice to one of the game's many characters? Is it A, Courtney Cox, a.k.a. Monica, B, Matthew Perry, a.k.a. Chandler, or C, Matt LeBlanc, a.k.a. Joey? And see, this is tricky because it's like, I know
which character you're referring to. I just don't know who his voice actor was. Which actually means I was right when I burst out earlier, but I answered the wrong question. Let me think. What were the options again?
I have Courtney Cox for A. B is Matthew Perry, or C is Matt LeBlanc.
Matthew Perry.
B? That's what you're saying?
B for Benny, because that's who he voiced. I knew it.
Well, let me tell you that you would be correct. The correct answer is B, Matthew Perry. He plays the role of, you guessed it, Benny in New Vegas. And the story behind that was that Matthew Perry was such a huge vocal fan of Fallout 3 that he was eventually asked to voice the character during the sequel's development. And fun fact, actually, you might not know this part, but Courtney Cox actually worked at Bethesda briefly in the 1980s.
Did she? Wow.
Yeah, dude. And she later on was one of the hosts for the Fallout 3 launch party. So,
do you want to
crazy
hear
that kind of overlap?
Do you want to hear a wild anecdote like that?
Sure, I'd love to.
Long story short, I had an English professor who we were talking about. It was the story was I have no mouth and I must scream. If anyone's familiar with it, it's it's like a weird, creepy story about a bunch of people who live in this like underground vault thing, big underground vault, and they have like these different mutations or whatever.
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar.
Yeah, so I missed class when we were discussing it, and her thing was like, look, if you miss class, you can get the credit. You just have to come in for my office hours. We'll just basically have the discussion, but it'll be one-on-one. So so I went into her office. And she's like, we just won't be long, probably half an hour or whatever. We can just, we can just go over it and then you can take off. All right, cool. So she's like, so what was your impressions? And I was like, well, this is a long shot, but this when they talk about an underground vault, it makes me think of the Fallout series. Do you know what that is?
Right.
She goes, my best friend was the head environmental designer of Fallout 3 and I believe Fallout New Vegas.
That's incredible.
So she's like, I know all about Fallout. So that we talked for like 2 hours because she's a really cool professor. But yeah. So again, just some weird connection like that. She's like, yeah, I know all about Fallout because like and I actually got I can't remember their name. I got to meet them like a couple months later because she sent me an email like, hey,
right.
like so and so is going to be in town just like visiting. And I was like, this is wild. This is absolutely wild.
And you wouldn't have even been able to do that if you didn't mention.
Yeah, I was like, here's a long shot, but have you heard of this video game? She's like, a little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Well, that's crazy. You think about how Fallout brings people together like that. Everyone from college professors to the world of weird, mediocre American sitcoms. Anyways, I'm just kidding. If you like Friends, then so be it.
No, you're lucky that I arbitrarily knew that because I've never watched a single frame of Friends.
Okay,
so
I was wondering.
I just happened to know that an actor from Friends, Matthew Perry, I just happened to know that he voiced a Fallout character. I was kind of on the fence about like if you would know this or not, but that's the information that I know. I wanted to get you on like who it is, because I like voice actors and I'm all about like that side of things. But you might not know like what their name is, but you do know who
that it was at least Benny was the one that was involved with that. So.
I believe this is, talking about voice actors. Do you know who Ron Perlman is?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm 90% sure he does all the intros for the Fallout games.
Okay.
Yeah, where he does it's because they all start with a monologue, and the monologue always ends with war never changes.
War never changes.
I'm 90% sure it's Ron Perlman.
It wouldn't surprise me. I'll look that up later. But, I guess to kind of close out the Fallout topic, and this is the same question that I asked about the other series, like, you've already talked about why the game is important to you, so has the game, or, just any of them, like, have they sort of, like, made you think differently in any way, like, in regards to, like, having your perspective changed or life-altering results, like, maybe you learned something new from it, but, what can you tell me about that?
2 points again.
Sure.
I'm actually glad you asked that because this is something we've discussed. This topic you and I have discussed a lot, but
probably it wouldn't surprise me.
And you set up the perfect segue. Benny from voiced by Matthew Perry from Fallout New Vegas in the opening cutscene. Long story short, you're a courier. You're delivering something, and Benny wants what you have, so he captures you and he shoots you in the head. Okay, but you don't die, and then you chase after him. That's the basic premises.
Is this a spoiler or does this like happen?
Oh no! Like, you watch this happen. It's the main plot is you have to chase after Benny. Not telling you why or what it is, but you have to chase after him. And Benny utters a quote that I actually it'll be probably one of my next couple tattoos, and the quote is, "Truth is, the game was rigged from the start." And again,
I did know that quote. Okay, yeah. So that's what it comes from.
Again, kind of cynical, kind of a cynical life lesson, but like, it's not going to be easy out there. And you know what, like, you're, except for, call it, I don't want to use this phrase, but except for, the 1% of the 1%, most people, just coming out straight, they have the cards stacked against them. So, life tries to shoot you in the head, but no, you crawl out of the dirt, you go running after life, and you say, "Guess what? It's me again." You thought, was that all you got? Because that's not going to stop me.
Yeah, you can play the game they want you to, or you can
make up your own rules.
Play to your own tune.
And so that's the one. And then again, I briefly touched on this earlier. So with another game in the series, Fallout 76. The whole debacle with that game taught me that finish everything you do. Don't let anything if you're gonna do something, do it right. And you know what? If it takes a little longer to do it correctly, take the extra time. Because
absolutely.
the world will want your head if you do something incorrectly and sit there and like, oh no, it's good. And then when it comes out a hot pile of burning garbage, it's, do everything right. Do it all the way through. Do it correctly. And again, if you got to say, look, man, I need some more time, take the extra time. Do it right.
It's well spoken, I will say. And I think I mentioned this in the previous episode. Again, check that out if you haven't. It's the episode with Nomo. I believe I mentioned the fact that like Shigeru Miyamoto, one of the main guys behind Nintendo, he said a quote that was like, an unfinished game, or it was something along the lines of, it was like a game that is delayed still has the chance to be good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Yes. So it's like you never really know what the reception is going to be until you release it. But if you're going to take the time to make this freaking game, you might as well make it good. So like the first impression is honestly like the worst thing you like the biggest influence you can have on a game's success. And you know, so Fallout 76 unfortunately dropped the ball in that regard. Yeah. And you know, if you were around in that time, like you were keeping up with the news, you definitely know what we're talking about. So
and again, I'll make a brief point on that. They've fixed it, but it and again, it's both Bethesda, so it's again same deal with ESO. Came out rough, but for whatever reason, it was all the hype and all the marketing and actually can I shout out another YouTuber on this video?
If you want, yeah.
Yeah, so there is a again, I don't want to go into it because it'll take forever. There's a video by the guy's name is Internet Historian. The video is called The Fall of 76, okay? And it's about maybe 24 minutes long, really well done, and it explains everything that went wrong with that game. And I believe it came out before they did the complete overhaul. So again, it's a little dated, but it explains everything that went wrong. Like to the point where they're like, people would be like, "What's wrong with this game?" And the customer service people like basically told them to like shut up. Like that was the email that was sent out in response to like, "My game's crashing." And they're like, "Yeah, we'll deal with it." Like that was the actual response from Bethesda. Like, quit whining. Okay, so again, the video is very, very well done, and it explains everything that went wrong with that. And again, they've kind of dug themselves out. I've played Fallout 76. I did the whole storyline. I did all the extra content that's coming out. I've played it. It's cool, but like again, they again like you were saying, from the guy from Nintendo. It will always be marked as honestly, I would say probably one of the worst releases of a game, and actually except for maybe that Cyberpunk's 2077. That was it was just bad.
Moral of the story: don't include the number 70 in your title, or else you're screwed.
Yeah. Moral of the story is do it right the first time. Take longer if you need to.
Well, I'm glad we were able to shout out a small time YouTuber such as Internet Historian. It's actually like if you Google his name, his video, The Fall of 76, is one of the first results that you get. So
I imagine it's probably one of his best ones. Yeah.
Well, you tell me. 29 million views probably has something to say for that.
Wow.
So definitely. But I think we said all that we could really say. I mean, I know you could probably go on, but
not even warmed up.
Right. We'll stop it there for convenience sake. But let's move on to the segment that I have where we talk about gaming news. So pretty much anything to do with the games that we have talked about in this episode. We want to go into, just like what's been happening with them lately. Are there any rumors or like just updates that might want to be addressed? Like, basically just see what's going on in the world of video games. So, let's go ahead and go in order of what we started with. So, yeah, let's start off with Red Dead Redemption news. So, and let me clarify, this is going to sound incredibly off topic at first, but I was wondering if you actually know anything about The Witcher by chance?
Addy, I think I know where you're going with this.
Oh yeah? Do you?
Are you going to tell me that Henry Cavill is interested in a Red Dead adaptation?
How did you know? Miracle worker you are, Steve.
Because Addy, because the only reason The Witcher wasn't one of my games is I only played The Witcher 3, and there's 2 more. But,
I see.
But yeah, so I'm.
I feel like a lot of people are in a similar boat, like Witcher 3
it's kind of like
definitely
with Fallout, where the first now from what I understand, the first two Witchers aren't bad, but again, I haven't the Witcher 3 I think it's actually one of the highest rated games in history. It's like across like 50 reviews, it's like 99 out of 100. It's fantastic.
There was like a solid period of a few years where people were treating it like this like uncovered gem. Like they're like, you guys need to check out this game called The Witcher 3.
Are you making fun of me? Because that's what I was doing.
It's not just you though. That's the thing. It's like everyone on the internet was treating it like it's some diamond in the rough. When meanwhile you got freaking like GameStop putting posters all over their store about it. Like, so it's funny that you know about that, because Henry Cavill, like you mentioned, he played Geralt, or is it Geralt?
Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah, right? Geralt of Rivia.
He earned that title, okay?
That's right. Yeah, he revealed that he would love to see the Red Dead series be up next to receive a top budget TV adaptation. In his words, actually, he stated, I've actually started playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but I started playing it and I'm really enjoying it. And so something like that, I think would be fun to turn into a movie. So,
yeah, I mean, what I was going to say is, like I mentioned earlier, it is a movie. It's already a movie.
Exactly.
That you play. And so again, that was like within probably my first 10 hours of playing, I was like looking online like, yo, is there a Red Dead movie coming out? Cause I'm playing one right now, But that's, I mean, that again, that's gonna start the wheels turning of all right, yeah. So he's like, again, you got a star with some considerable clout, who maybe he can even argue that like, look, I'm the guy for video game adaptations or movie adaptations of video games. And so again, if he can,
he's definitely really influential, with that
so
kind of thing.
If he can get behind that, then I mean, I'll be watching the headlines for the like just whether it's in production or if like some studios behind it. Yeah, I would love to see it turn into a movie.
Yeah, and I mean it isn't too surprising to hear, as Henry Cavill has mentioned, that in the past he's a fan of certain games like World of Warcraft, Mass Effect, and I mean The Witcher, of course. But I honestly would not be surprised at all if Rockstar decided to fund a project like that with Netflix. Regardless of if it features him or not, Red Dead 2 would be a solid adaptation. Or maybe they could try and incorporate both games' plots in a way. Like, I'm not too sure because, like I mentioned previously, I never actually played the games, but it sounds like you're definitely on board for an adaptation.
I mean, I could see like it would have to be both games. It would be Red Dead 2 into Red Dead Redemption because it's like the game, and then the next one's the prequel. But again, it would, the way the story runs together, it would almost be like Star Wars, where like there's so much going on in each. There's so much there that you would have to split it up into multiple films, just because it's again, so.
Because it's like you'd either be sacrificing a lot of detail,
of detail,
like just taking a lot of liberties with it.
Yeah. But
like I don't deny that it could be done, but like it would definitely be ambitious.
Yeah, and it'd be one of those like 3.5 hour movies. But
like freaking Game of Thrones coming out here. Like
I mean, these, pretty much,
long episodes. Yeah. But like in this world of video game adaptations, like actually being popular nowadays. I mean, you got Sonic, you got Chris Pratt voicing Mario. I feel like anything's possible now. So like, there's definitely a market for it.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of opinions, it seems like the Red Dead Online fans are not too happy with Rockstar. It seems like Rockstar has seemingly lackluster support for the online gameplay portion of Red Dead 2. And for those uninitiated, a little while ago, I'm talking like maybe like a week or so ago, Rockstar added a new holiday call to arms mode to the game to celebrate Christmas and the winter season in general. And right now, it seems like that's the only real update the service has seen in the past year or so. Like, do you play online at all, Steve, or is this something that
I don't
honestly care less about?
Dude, I don't play it because it's not well supported. It's
right.
Yeah, it's okay. So this is Rockstar we're talking about, right? let's be real. Rockstar's baby is GTA 5. Like I just mentioned, they're still putting out content updates for it. What are we 8 years after it came out?
Yeah.
So that's
Absolutely.
that's their baby, and like that honestly doesn't bother me because again, there's so much in the base game to do that I have no issue not playing online. I mean, yeah, it's cool to it would be cool to like I can go be in a posse with my boys, like that sort of thing. Like yeah, it'd be fun, but like then you start it's all. It's almost like a bootleg version of the story where because like in GTA like if you're in downtown Los Angeles or Los Santos, sorry, ostensibly Los Angeles, if you want to be at the other side of the map in 5 minutes, what do? You go to the airport and hijack a plane, of course,
right?
But in Red Dead, you're still playing on again that massive map that I don't remember the exact real world dimensions, but it's huge. And so if you want to be on the other side of the map, you have to get on your horse and ride it. And while you're playing online or while you're playing offline on the regular story, I mean, that game is so beautifully made that you could ride for 20 minutes through the various landscapes and like you just looking at the sun, looking at the birds flying around. It's it's not that bad. But when it's like an online game and it's like you ride along with your boys. Your one friend has a faster horse, so he's way gone, and you're still riding the mule, which is usually the starting vehicle is like the stupid little mule. It's kind of I don't know. If they announced that they were just going to throw in the towel and focus solely on GTA Online, I could care less. That wouldn't bother me in the slightest, and I'd say that's go ahead. That's
sure
fine.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate, and there's a lot of fans that are still interested in the online service, but like it seems like the service itself could be slowly but surely dying out as the game gets older. Like Red Dead 2, like we were mentioning earlier, it's not terribly old. Like it came out in 2018, but you have GTA 5 that released way before that, so like it's not so much like an age thing, but like 1 is still getting updates and even HD remasters. Which is a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But so why is it dying out? I'm not too sure, but it generally seems like, at least within Rockstar, the interest is starting to fizzle out if it hasn't already started out. So
yeah, it's I would say again, to conclude that, like with Rockstar, the Rockstar titles, GTA is the online game. Red Dead Redemption is the story-based single-player game, and that's fine.
That's fair. That's fair to assume.
In my head, that separation that makes complete sense. I fully sign off on it. It's like, that's if it never had online, it would be like, okay, I can replay the game 4 or 5 times, and maybe do it differently because again, another small point of all these games is there's 1,000 ways to play it, and you could say one sentence to a person and have a completely different result than if you were to use another dialogue option. That's why these games are so exciting. And so again, there's countless ways to play it. That's cool. And again, if you're gonna go be a bad guy, you're gonna go, I'm gonna rob stuff, I'm gonna steal things. It's a lot funner to shoot people from a fighter jet flying over Los Santos than like like that's it's more fast paced explosions out of all that. And again, being an old
you have a lot
bandit,
more. You have a lot more freedom, effectively.
Yeah. But,
no, I understand. Well, speaking of how we mentioned briefly on remasters and re-releases, moving on to Skyrim news. You like what I did there?
No, I hate.
No, I can't stand it. But good news for the weird demographic of people who haven't played Skyrim yet, but also own a PS5. The game has yet again gotten another re-release, this time for the next generation of gaming, Xbox Series X/S and the PlayStation 5, and a few other platforms, but it was released a little over a month ago on November 11th, and not only that, but it's also getting a free next-gen upgrade that will be available to all owners of the Skyrim Special Edition, as well as Bethesda is also adding 3 free pieces of the Creation Club content to the game for all Special Edition owners, including fishing. So like you'll be able to go fishing in the game. For those of you that were, fingers crossed, you're like, my open world RPG, like I can do absolutely everything, but I can't fish. I need to fish right now.
Quick sidebar: you can fish in Red Dead 2. One of the cleanest fishing mechanics I've ever seen in my entire life. Beautiful. Now,
and you are a fisherman, so like
I am a fisherman.
You definitely know what it's like. So
it's really well done. Now, my response to that news is, who cares?
Well, that's what I said. I'm like, for that weird demographic, like who haven't played Skyrim, but they still have a brand new console. If you haven't played it, what are you waiting for? And it's funny coming from me because I haven't played it, but I literally have it in my cart at any given moment. I could buy it as soon as I want.
Don't worry, Addy. I don't know I don't know the exact number. I think there's actually 8 different versions of Skyrim that you can buy because it's been re-released so many times. Okay, and I've been doing this because I'm kind of an asshole sometimes. On the Elder Scrolls and Skyrim Instagrams, this cracks me up. Every time they're like, "Oh, yeah, you can fish in the game now." All the comments are, "Elder Scrolls 6, when's it coming out? Elder Scrolls 6, who cares?" Nobody cares. I'm sure some people care. I don't care.
But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about
the fact that, okay, it's been, it came out on 11/11. Yeah, it was the 10-year anniversary of it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
It's
quite literally a decade of releasing the same game.
Yeah, and it's like, the graphics, it's an old game engine. The graphics are not good. Again, they're good, but they are dated with a capital D. So, again, you can put all my little texture packs and all that stuff. You can put everything you want on there. It's still going to look like a 10-year-old game, okay? Now, am I saying it's bad? No. Will I go and play it? Absolutely. But again, it's almost like, and again, this is one person who doesn't have any knowledge in how all this whole system of making the games works. But I would, it's almost like with Red Dead, where it's like, okay, cut your losses as a company, cut your losses. Don't worry about the Red Dead Online servers. Bolster up your cash cow of the GTA servers. Go ahead and do that. That's cool. And again, like with Elder Scrolls, I can't describe how much I do not care that it was re-released again, because believe it or not, the original copy I still have still plays fine. It's still the same game. So why, I don't know. I don't understand why, from a business standpoint, they're putting so much effort into releasing free content. Now, if it was all these content packs and stuff like that you have to pay for, okay, that's a revenue stream. But if it's just, our graphics are marginally better, they're in 4K. My TV isn't in 4K. I don't care. Why are they using so much of their company time and resources into doing that, when maybe they should focus it on releasing Elder Scrolls 6 and not having an unmitigated disaster like Fallout 76 was?
Yeah.
Couldn't
have said it better myself, really.
Yeah, again, cut your losses. It's a 10-year-old game. Why, it's like, somebody having like some piece of crap car from the 80s, and they're like, you're like my neighbor. He had this old what was it, an old Volvo that was like an 81 Volvo, and he probably put 3 times the value of the car in it to keep it running. It's like, dude, just go buy a new one, or save up instead of keeping this piece of crap running. Save your money, limp it along, and then, go get a new one. So again, I don't understand all the effort and attention to, again, a 10-year-old game, when they teased, or, we'll talk about news. I don't remember which E3 it was, but they teased Elder Scrolls 6, okay?
Yeah.
It's confirmed, but they have not said a single thing since. And everybody's like, look, that's all you had to say is, hey, we're working on Elder Scrolls 6. That's cool. I can sit and wait until that comes out. I don't care if I'm married with a mortgage when it comes out. I'll still play it. But
yeah. Oh, sorry. I'll let you finish that.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, you tease it. That's cool. Now, but it's like, well, in the meantime, you could still play Skyrim, and it's like, yeah, I was gonna do that anyway. Or like I was gonna, Bethesda released some other games. There was it was called The Outer Worlds. It was kind of cool.
I did know about that. It seemed pretty cool.
it was basically like a reskin Fallout and like outer space type stuff. It was cool. It was I liked it.
Sure.
Not a lot of content. It was maybe like a 30-hour playthrough. It wasn't a whole lot there, but it was cool. And then I believe they're working on a new title. I think it's called Starfield. I think I'm
not too sure, to be honest.
Starfield is their new franchise. I guess you would say is they're launching a new franchise. Yeah, kind of like a Star Wars type, outer space type game. But like again, I don't understand this entirely because I'm not in that realm from a business standpoint. But it's like, okay, within their demographic of Skyrim fans, they're screaming like Elder Scrolls 6. It's been 10 years, Elder Scrolls 6, and they're like, yeah, you guys want Elder Scrolls 6? Yeah. All right. Here's bootleg Star Wars. It's now again.
Oh man.
I'll probably play it. I'll check it out. I'll see what it's like. But I would much rather again wait 3 or 4 years, and if they have a fully realized and fully baked Elder Scrolls 6 come out, I'll wait another 15 for the next release. But again, that's my perspective on it. I don't think I'm alone. I can't be the only one thinking this. But again,
I doubt it.
I'm sure there's some reason. But.
Well, here's something that I wanted to mention because, as you know, I'm a pretty big fan of the Kingdom Hearts series.
Yes.
And the series itself is known for being just very, convoluted with many installations of the games. Like there's a lot of games in the series,
Okay.
And I looked this up a couple of years ago. It might have changed since then because there's been a few games since then, but for a while, there were just as many Skyrim re-releases as there were games in the Kingdom Hearts series. And I think that is just hilarious.
Oh, God. I think the last time we were hanging out, I think I went on this monologue, as I always do when it comes up.
Right.
I think we brought that up. And I was sitting there, I was sitting there laughing there's you can almost probably say almost like with Assassin's Creed too, where there's there's so many versions of Skyrim as there are the entire Assassin's Creed. They have the 12 titles.
And I'm sure I'm sure there were more Skyrim games more re-releases of Skyrim than there were actual Assassin's Creed games at one point. So it's I think the official number right now is if you're just counting full console re-releases, I think it's either 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it's been out for 10 years. For scoring at home.
For all of the other weird versions that are out there, there's Skyrim VR, Skyrim. There was one actually I don't know if you can call this a real version, but there was a version released on Amazon Echo that you could play. It was I don't know how you describe this without it just being like it's a choose your own adventure, except you tell the Amazon Echo what you want to do in the game. So it's can you call that Skyrim, or is it just some weird text-based adventure that's based off of Skyrim? So
Todd Howard, I'm speaking directly to you right now, Todd Howard.
It just works.
Knock it off.
It just works, Steve. It just works.
Knock it off. Elder Scrolls 6. Knock it off.
Yeah.
Todd Howard's the head of Bethesda.
I do know, yeah.
He's
yeah.
the boogeyman, and the boogeyman or Christ Reborn, depending on how you look at it. But Todd, knock it off.
So moving on from the actual development of Skyrim, what I wanted to share is something that's a little bit closer to my interest specifically. Something that I enjoy doing. It's I guess you could call it a hobby. No more hobby than just spending money, but a company called Good Smile has made a very affordable Dovahkiin figure available for pre-order as a part of their Papa Parade line. So nice. If you know anything about Good Smile or you know anything about Papa Parade, like many of the other figures of this line, you can find it on their websites, American, Japanese stores. It's a very reasonable $38.99 with a surprising amount of detail put into it. So
that's not too bad.
Yeah, these kind of figures, they have for how much you're spending, the detail is very well done. Like it's not like you're not going to get the same results like out of like a
like the
I don't know, like $100 like figure like that, you know.
I was gonna say like the Bethesda store, they have little merch, little trinkets and knickknacks like that. But I think they're probably pushing like you can get one that's maybe like a foot tall, but it's like $100 or something like that.
Yeah, but like you look at a figure like this,
got a birthday
I think it's
coming
like,
up. Just saying. I got a birthday coming up.
Well, you're looking at something like this. I think it's like a 1 to 7 scale, so it's
Okay.
like maybe not any more than like maybe like 6 or 7 inches tall, but
Perfect for a desk.
You're still gonna have like enough room to have it displayed, and you're also not breaking the bank on it. So I know that there are plenty of figures out there that you can absolutely break your bank.
Yeah.
But at least in terms of this figure specifically, like the only downside to pre-ordering with Good Smile is that, generally speaking, because they just make so many figures and they re-release them before they even have a chance to even make them, you're effectively going in for pre-order instead of actually like outright buying it. And if you're buying it, or I should say pre-ordering it, as soon as the figure is released, you can expect to wait at least like 7 or 8 months for that figure to actually be released. So, you look at the figure, like when it's actually expected to be slated for release. It's saying July 2022 in Japan and September 2022 for North America. So, do the math there, but there's definitely a significant wait time for it. However, it could be a nice surprise. I like to surprise myself in a sense where I pre-order something and then, a couple months later, it just comes in the mail and I'm like, what the hell is this? But
that's where that $80 went.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's one of those things, like I said, I guess you could call it a hobby, but it's no more of a hobby than just like buying things that you enjoy. I mean, you're a musician, so you know all about wasting
Jesus
money.
God.
But
excuse me, wasting. There was a philosopher who said time spent wasted is not wasted, or time that you enjoyed wasting is not wasted at all, something like that. So
that's
your
fair.
comment is invalid. Continuing.
Well, maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better about spending money, but
I'm trying to make myself feel better about it.
Yeah, if you're interested in that sort of thing, definitely check out the Pop-Up Parade line with Good Smile. I have had a lot of experience with pre-ordering their stuff, and I think it's really cool. You can definitely surf some other websites to see if they might have it for cheaper, but $38.99, I mean, if you ask me, is already pretty reasonable. So
that's fine.
Take a look at that, and you might get something good from that. So, enough about Skyrim, enough about Bethesda. Well, actually, not enough about Bethesda, because I wanted to jump into the last bit of the news segment, which is Fallout news. Now, because I have Steve here with me, and he is such an avid fan of the Fallout series, I wanted to see, switch things up a little bit and see what he has to say about news in the series, because, I could say anything, but I figured I would rather hear it from just what he has to offer. So, Steve, what can you tell us about Fallout? Is there anything that's happening lately that you can kind of fill us in on? I'm interested to see how much you know.
Oh, I believe that Fallout 5 is loosely confirmed, because there's like one of the the data miner kind of like borderline hacker dudes. I believe, I don't remember which one. I believe maybe a month or two ago, he uncovered, because what it is they'll uncover, just like data or whatever, where you can kind of see, within the actual, like data in the computer, you can kind of start picking out things that would imply that a new Fallout game is in development. But
sure.
I researched it at the time, and again, it's no more specific than Elder Scrolls 6, which again, all we know is that it's happening.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that I if I remember correctly, I think I believe Bethesda, I don't know if this is like a company policy or just, my scope of attention on it. They tend to be pretty tight-lipped about what they're doing until it's like coming out in the next quarter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like if it's like a fall release, they'll like announce it in the summer. But then, like, that's like really all. That'll be like the only piece of news you've heard of it for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean that's just the nature of rumors
but,
and things like that. You can believe it or you don't believe it.
Yeah.
But all
so,
in all, like you said, it's no closer than what we know about like Elder Scrolls 6, so.
Well, it's even further away because again, Elder Scrolls 6 is 100%. It was announced at E3. It was at an E3, convention, whatever you want to call it. It was officially announced. There was a teaser, really short teaser, and that was it. But again, I think it's been loosely confirmed that Fallout 5 is happening, and that's.
I'm looking it up right now. People are saying like, oh, there's some kind of leak that's happening. Like,
it's just a leak. Is all it is now.
Yeah, which could mean anything nowadays. I mean, like, thank God that this stuff is over. But like in the world of like Smash Brothers DLC, like the word leak was tossed around more than like people are talking about freaking like things that actually matter in the world. So like that nature of news is I feel like it's always here to stay because you want people reading your articles. You want them looking into what all this is.
And then again, like I said, when you see those and you actually read the article, it always starts off with like the leaker or whatever they call the people that again find the data. It's like none of this is confirmed. It's just the guy who he's been correct about all these other series. He might have information on it, and that's literally as specific as it gets. So.
Yeah, and did you say that you still keep up with Fallout 76, or was it more or less just like you tried it, you gave up on it kind of thing?
Well, you know what? It's okay.
So I feel like that's going to be the most relevant thing in terms of Fallout.
Good point. This will be for anybody who threw the game away, like I did. The game it's playable because. Again, very, very brief overview. The whole issue was Fallout's cool because you can interact with characters in the game, right? They give you their missions. That's all. That's the whole. It's character driven. There were no characters in Fallout 76 when it came up. It was literally like, oh, you go to this computer tells you to go to another computer. That computer tells you to find something, and that's your mission. That's boring. So they did a complete overhaul because the idea was, all the other players because it's a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. The idea was all the other players will be the NPCs in the game, but it's like, well, no, because all the other players are doing these stupid quests, and it did it cool on paper, didn't pan out. So they did a complete overhaul. They introduced NPCs. They introduced all new quests and stuff, and they actually I think it might have been last summer or the summer before. It was within that time frame. They jumped on the kind of popular thing that's been coming up of like a game having seasons where it's kind of like rolling content updates that are free, but it's like legitimate content that you're getting. So they were on a thing where each season, so roughly every 3-4 months, you'd get this new quest line and you'd run the quest line, new items, new characters, new locations, and then you'd play it for a little bit, and then a couple 2 months later, the next batch would roll out, and you would continue the quest line. So they had the quest line is the Brotherhood of Steel are here to save the Appalachian wasteland. But so again, I think they turned the ship around pretty well. But again, the black eye that they have, it's not faded right now. It's just that ugly like yellow color. Like when you get a bruise and it's like 10 days old. So it's again, anybody who might be on the, still be upset about it. I as an avid fan who was wholeheartedly let down by the initial release, I would recommend playing it. It's, it is cool. At least with my console and, with my internet connection and all that, the game breaking glitches are gone where like you fall through the map. All that stuff's been ironed out. So it's a playable game. It's not nearly as cool as the other two in my opinion. But again, it's it's a different experience. It is fun to play with other people. That is actually really cool to do. Because I'm the angel. I would go and find the people who are like level 1, and I'd go like craft them really nice weapons so they could like get a little head start. And I just like give them to them for free. Right. And I actually met two. I met two. With the in-game voice chat, I actually have 2 guys on my friends list on Xbox who like I don't know them, but I play with them because I met them months ago. Just helping them out like that. So yeah, that's it's cool. Again, that's the only really significant news as far as I'm concerned with 76 is that again, sure. It's even dated news, but it is playable. So if anyone was upset with the initial one, give it a second chance. I think it'll be, you'll be pleasantly surprised with what they did.
Yeah.
With it.
I feel like for a while, like Fallout 76 has pretty much been off the radar for a lot of video game fans. Just I mean, that's not to say that like Fallout is irrelevant or anything, but there's just like such a huge influx of like these wonderful games that people are able to experience, like everything from AAA to like especially indie games are making like a huge revival now. Lots of people are super into, myself included. Like there's a lot of indie games that are worth checking out. So, not to get too off topic, but I think that is where we'll call it. I think we'll stop right there. Thank you for joining me on here, Steve. I have had a blast talking to you about this, and I'm sure that we'll continue this conversation well into some other day, just on our own. So I would say now is a good chance to plug any sort of last minute promos or anything, or if you want to shout out social media, you can, or just give a shout out to whatever else you would like to give a proper send off to the audience.
So I mean, I don't, I'm not too much of a content creator yet. Keyword yet. Can I make my big announcement that I've been hatching here? If you call music content, I mean, yes.
I certainly would. So
yeah, so again, this isn't exactly video game related, but I conceived of an idea to do a again, it's in its very infancy now, but do a kind of music podcast where, again, the pitch is that I have a collection of 271 vinyl records, and I haven't listened to probably more than 30 of them. So the idea for my podcast would be that I have a catalog of them online, and I can hit a randomized button, okay? And it just randomly brings up one of the albums I own. So what I want to do is, maybe every week or whatever, the frequency of it, I would pull up an album, and it would be like, it could be anything from, Pronounced Leonard Skinner to Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar to like, let me think, Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. It's I have a wide variety of music that I'm interested in, I listen to, but I just haven't with all my records. So again, the idea would be.
It's not too far off from the gamer lifestyle, just because we understand what a backlog is like. We want to know what games are out, but we still have that list of games that we still got to touch. So you're gonna like I said, it's in its infancy. I have the name of it will be The Vinyl Frontier, and I'm taking everybody on a voyage through my my galaxy of vinyl records that I have, because it's quite extensive, but. Again, is this going to be something you're just doing by yourself, or like you're having guests on?
Probably by myself. I might have guests, and maybe like JJ's really into music, or our friend JJ, and just and unfortunately the issue I have is that I don't know what I want to do with it, because playing music on YouTube, you get the copyright issues.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, and again, all I'd want to do is just listen to it. And you just give my honest opinion on it. Not like review or rank it, but just like if it's some, like I have a bunch of random like acid jazz albums, and just like, like this is the wildest stuff I've ever heard in my life. Whether I like it or not, try to give as objective of a review of it as I can. So it's in the development stages, but I mean, again, that might be something I try to take care of maybe by the summer, after I get my real music I'm producing taken care of. And again, if I plan on releasing the music I am creating, and that will be under the banner, the Tattered Flag Holding Company. That means absolutely nothing. I just like band names that are sound like a business. So it is a completely arbitrary name, but yeah. So that'll be coming out. Again, I'm gonna probably try to shoot for like late spring, early summer with that.
But hey man, if you need help with any of those projects, you know who to call. And I mean, if you need a guest or two, I got you there as well.
Yeah. So again, that's all I do. That's it for me.
And your name is Steve. Well, that's
Steve
everything
Steve.
then.
Steve is Steve.
You be Steve. I'd say that's everything then. So again, thank you so much for joining me on here, man. It's been a blast. I hope you had a good time, and I hope you, the viewer, enjoyed the show. So if you have any questions you'd like us to answer, or, have some recommendations for the next episode, feel free to leave a comment down below or message me on Instagram or Twitter at JumpHigherProd. That's Jump Higher, Prod. I hope to hear from you next time when we find someone that we want to dive deep into their experiences with video games with and share their personal connections with us all. So, thanks for listening, and bye for now. Bye-bye.